Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The Mueller report on the 2016 presidential campaign has been wrapped up, but still Democrats are far from finished in their own investigations into the Trump administration.
They say Attorney General William Barr is simply covering for the president, but Barr is doing some investigating of his own, including how the Russia probe got started in the first place. Jennifer Wishon brings us that story from Washington.
Attorney General William Barr proved himself an adept navigator of the law on Capitol Hill this week, but Democrats aren't satisfied. This as we learn the FBI assigned an undercover agent to observe the Trump campaign in 2016. The New York Times reports an FBI investigator, described as an attractive blonde woman using the name Azra Turk, posed as a research assistant to observe Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos. The revelation shows the lengths the FBI took to find out if the Trump campaign was aiding Russia in its election meddling, and gives fuel to the Trump administration's claims they were spied on during the campaign. Attorney General Barr said during his Senate testimony Wednesday he's assigned a team at the Justice Department to help him review the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Meanwhile, Democrats are fuming after Barr refused to testify before the House Judiciary Committee Thursday. He made that decision after learning committee attorneys rather than members of Congress would be questioning him. When Barr didn't show, Congressman Steve Cohen brought in a ceramic chicken on a bucket of KFC. It drew laughs, but the committee chairman threatens to hold Barr in contempt.
We cannot permit him or anybody in the administration to dictate the manner in which we function.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Barr lied about his dialogue with the Mueller team.
The Attorney General of the United States of America was not telling the truth to the Congress of the United States. That's a crime.
But the Justice Department calls Pelosi's accusation reckless, irresponsible, and false. And it's not just Barr the Democrats are targeting. Chairman Nadler and others want to hear from a number of key witnesses in the Mueller report, like former White House counsel Dan McGahn. But the president is reserving his right to block their testimony, saying he completely cooperated with Mueller's team and that the investigations should be over.
I would say it's done.
The president says the Mueller report should be the final word. But for Democrats, it's a new starting point. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Well, get ready for 2 rambunctious years as the House tries to open new inquiries into this. But what the New York Times is reporting is unbelievable. The FBI assigned an undercover agent to go to London and directly ask, is the Trump campaign working with the Russians? And then on top of it, you have at the highest levels of the FBI a serious conversation about wiretapping in the Oval Office in order to trap President Trump. This is unprecedented in our nation's history. I don't think the FBI has ever investigated a presidential campaign. So this is going to get very interesting. Well, President Trump says thinking about God helped him during the investigation into his campaign. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The president spoke faith and protecting religious liberty during a Rose Garden ceremony for the National Day of Prayer Thursday. And as Gordon just said, he talked about how faith has helped him personally, saying he thought about God during the Robert Mueller Russia probe.
People say, how do you get through that whole stuff? How do you go through those witch hunts and everything else? And you know what we do, Mike? We just do it, right? And we think about God.
The president also announced new protections for health care workers who object to religious, on religious or moral grounds to taking part in procedures like abortion, sterilization, and assisted suicide.
Every citizen has the absolute right to live according to the teachings of their faith and the convictions of their heart. This is the bedrock of American life. To protect this heritage, my administration has strongly defended religious liberty.
Clinicians and institutions wouldn't have to provide, take part in, pay for, cover, or make referrals for procedures to which they object. Well, during the Rose Garden prayer ceremony, the president also called up a speaker, the rabbi from the San Diego synagogue that was attacked by a shooter last Saturday. Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein thanked the president for his comforting words after the deadly attack, and he had a message for all of America as well.
We need to go back to the basics and introduce a moment of silence in all public schools so that children from early childhood on could recognize that there's more good to the world, that they are valuable, that there is accountability, and every human being is created in God's image.
The rabbi said he prayed and hoped that out of the darkness of the attack, a lot of good will happen. Well, as President Trump prepares to release his Israeli-Palestinian peace plan, probably next month, a high-level United Nations official recently briefed the UN Security Council on the situation of the Palestinians. Israel was blasted for expanding Jewish communities in biblical Judea and Samaria. But Israel's UN ambassador, Danny Danon, said Israel's claim to the land is based on 4 pillars, including the Bible.
From the book of Genesis to the Jewish exodus from Egypt, to receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai, and to the realization of God's covenant in the Holy Land of Israel, the Bible paints a consistent picture. The entire history of our people and our connection to Eretz Israel begins right here.
Danon said the 3 other pillars for Israel's claim to the land are history, international law, and, Gordon, the pursuit of peace and security.
If you want to know more about those other pillars of Israel's claims to the land, we've got a special DVD for you. It's called Whose Land Is It? And it explores the history, it explores international law, it explores the various claims between the Palestinians, the Arabs, and the Jews to the land of Israel. It's yours if you would like it. It's for a gift of $10. All you have to do is call us, 1-800-700-7000, and say, I want the DVD, Whose Land Is It?